back to another episode of Truth Control. My name is Quinton.
And I'm Jessy.
And in this episode we're going to be talking about reincarnation, which is a topic that some religions teach and others don't. For
Correct.
instance, Christianity, as most people are probably aware, Christianity does not really teach reincarnation. It teaches more that we have one life here, and that after this life, depending on our beliefs in certain figures, we either go to heaven or hell for eternity. And then obviously other types of Christianity, like Mormons for instance, they have a little bit different, modified view on that. So, and then, and then other religions do kind of believe more in reincarnation, or that you might reincarnate and then maybe into an animal or things like that also. So there's kind of a wide spectrum insofar as religions go.
Like the Buddhism believes a lot in everything has a purpose in life, and that you're reincarnated depending on things. That's why you're not supposed to kill a fly and things like that. They take it to that, to that level where they don't believe in killing anything. And so, and they're big believers in reincarnation.
And I believe that's partly why, Indians don't believe in eating beef.
Correct.
Particularly because it might be somebody reincarnated.
Well, pork. They don't eat pork.
Okay, so.
It's pork,
Yeah. Anyway, so Christianity, though, what's interesting is it actually started out where, obviously, the Bible, because the Bible is also not exactly what churches teach. The two things are different. The church kind of teaches there's no reincarnation, even though the Bible might still have hints at it or still kind of talk about it. And moreover, the Bible is a collection of many documents written over many different periods of time by many different authors.
And changed by many different people throughout the centuries. There was this king, and I can't recall his name
I have
right
a
now.
quote for you, speaking of that king, which might...
But he actually destroyed everything about reincarnation.
Here's a quote by David Icke. He says, in 553 AD, the belief in reincarnation was outlawed at the Second Synod Council of Constantinople under the influence of Emperor Justinian. The council decided, without the attendance of the Pope, that if anyone asserts the fabulous pre-existence of souls and shall submit to the monstrous doctrine that follows from it, let him be excommunicated.
And what happened was that they made sure and destroyed the Bibles from that time, because they did not want people to believe in reincarnation, just because they had the power. That emperor decided, I'm going to send my army to destroy every Bible out there. There was some that were saved, but at one point, reincarnation was a big topic in the Bible.
Yeah, so as you know, the Bible was originally put together around 325 AD, the Council of Nicaea, and even during that time, they were only selecting certain documents that they thought would be fit for
the Bible.
Yeah, for the Bible. And obviously there were other documents written during the same period, like the Gnostic scriptures, and then, various other things written by the Essenes and other non-kind of mainstream or, non-Christian documents, and, those were not included. They only included what they wanted to include or what they thought would be the best for that. And obviously, throughout time, as more and more edits were done, they just, the Bible's just been re-edited, new things added, things taken out, reinterpreted, things like that. So it's what we have now is totally not necessarily what originally there was, and you can still kind of see remnants of reincarnation in the Bible. You just have to look kind of closely for them, and
be able to, I guess, interpret the reincarnation part of it. My view on it is very simple, because I believe that reincarnation, you come back each lifetime with the same people that you've shared many lives with before. For instance, I know I've had a lifetime with my previous father, that where I was the roles were reversed, and I know this because I went through one of the regressions with a hypnotherapist, and she took me back in some lifetimes. For instance, also I have a brother in this lifetime where he was my son in another lifetime, and I just didn't understand why I was so obsessed, and I always thought he was going to get killed and things were going to happen to him. After I went through my regression, I saw that in one of my past reincarnations, he was my son, and he was actually taken from me, and I was killed. And you know, it might be a little bit extreme, but I was able to kind of let go because I was able to touch that part. But needless to say, I think that reincarnation is very different, because a lot of people think it's a karmic debt situation, where I think that every time you come back, your love is just growing stronger and stronger. Because as God is not a hateful God the way I see it, and so I don't think that we would come back to pay our karmic debt.
And karma is interesting because the way I see it is it's more of a physical third density thing, where you have cause and effect here, where certain things we do have results of those actions. Mm-hmm. Where in the spiritual world, there's really no such thing as that. It's
all nothingness. It's all pure love, pure bliss.
So there aren't judgment calls being made in the sense of results for actions like there are in this physical world.
I guess the judgment calls come from this physical form more than anything. Whereas in the spiritual form, it takes a little different, it's a different effect. Mm-hmm. As far as it goes. But like reincarnation, like I mean, I'm pretty sure all of us have been men and women, and we've been everything. I think that there's some people that come back as androgynous,
now
being it a different point of view, right, as well.
Now on that topic with the men and women, it's interesting because obviously spirits aren't necessarily
anything
a man or a woman. They're more androgynous or genderless, or they have both attributes. And then as we are incarnated into a body, obviously the bodies that we have on this world are either male or female. So you're, for the most part, you're pretty much.
Yeah, and then the thing is that one thing we gotta understand, if each reincarnation is probably a chance for you to evolve to a higher self. Mm-hmm. And I think that the body limits us in that. Whereas like
people think too much that their body, where they're actually their spirit using their body.
Exactly.
Now let me, on that basis, there's a quote here by Val Valerian, and he says, "You may believe that you are a male/man or a female/woman when you, as an androgynous spiritual being operating through a body, buy into the cultural lie and DNA programming that says or makes it seem you are your body and the gender of the body. Are you really a male or a female? No. However, most incarnations here think they are."
And going back to that, it's very interesting, to think about that, because a lot of times, I mean, you just are not that at all.
It's like, I mean, it's simple. When you get into your car, are you your Honda Civic or are you your Ford Taurus? No, you're the driver for that particular car, but that's not you. It might be kind of, the way that you take care of her, the way you present it might be an attribute of you as an owner of it, but you're not that. And the same thing going with the physical form.
We're not this physical form, and the thing is that when we relate only to this physical form, then it becomes harder, I guess, on you to see things differently. And that's why I think we reincarnate ourselves to come back and experience all these lives, whether you be poor in this lifetime or rich. I mean, like, it's different for everyone. Somebody just decides they want to come and experience that life.
Because the main goal of reincarnation basically being we need to try different things in order to kind of evolve ourselves or to grow. And in a previous episode, we talked about how we start out in the spiritual world and we enter into matter in order to gain experience, in order to do certain things, so that once we return back, we have now these newfound experiences and these new understandings.
And the awesome thing to think about in this is, like, as creators, we're creating the body exactly as we want it. And what's so sad is that a lot of people are not satisfied with their body ever. They reincarnated to be exactly and have the body exactly as they chose it, because you're still creating at this moment. So in your reincarnation life, you're going to create yourself exactly as you want to be seen by others in this physical form.
So in that regard, I have a quote here from Manly P. Hall, and he says, "What man of myopic vision dares to ordain health for the sick or illness for the strong? Who dares to say this poor man should be rich, or this man should be poor? Does he know the reasoning for his coming? Does he know the virtues and vices which, lying hidden in the past, are the invisible causes of his present condition? Does he know the reason for the environment where he dwells, or the urges that have led him to his present state? If not, then he should be silent." Which he's basically saying we don't know necessarily why somebody's rich or poor, and it's not necessarily for us to say it's good or bad to be rich or poor.
And what a lot of people do is envy other people when they're rich or they're, you know. And the thing is that at that point you're touching at your energy level and you're holding back from yourself because you're judging others. And I mean, I don't believe in judgment of any kind.
Like almost everybody you talk to will say, it's bad that people are born into like a poor family. They should be born, and they probably think it's better to be born rich. But why? I mean, it makes no difference. You're here for lessons, and you might get way more lessons as a poor person. You might learn way more. You might do way more. You might get more lessons as a rich person, but we don't know, and it's personal, and you can't draw a blanket statement on everybody and say everybody should be born rich, because it's personal. It's not like that.
And it's a reincarnation. I think it's a choice more so than anything, because like it's very hard for me when I see a homeless person out there in the street, but I don't really see the bigger picture or what their reincarnations look like. I see what I see with my eyes, and I see it as bad. But if I connect to their spiritual level, I know that they're here learning a lesson for whatever reason. They reincarnated, they decided to live that life. Some of you might be saying, oh yeah, who would want to be homeless? But if you see the bigger picture, we really don't know what their situation is. We really don't know their reincarnation history. We can only assume. And when you start connecting more to your spiritual level rather than just the physical, you kind of can step back and observe things like that and see things differently, and not knowing that maybe in this reincarnation you bumped into that person because you needed to learn a lesson. Because I think you learn a lesson from everybody you encounter in life. I just see life that way. And some people are, there's like a lot of rich people that, and I'm not saying anything bad, but they don't see like anyone like people that are more poor than them. They just see them as like, you're less than me. And maybe that's their lesson. They want to be like that. They want to be conceited about life. That's their lesson. They still deserve the respect. Just because they have all this money doesn't mean that they're bad people. It's just stepping back and taking into account that we're all here reincarnated for a reason. And everybody that's in your life, especially your family, your closest people around you, there's bigger lessons to learn. Bigger lessons, like I guess you could say, bigger fish to fry and things like that. But that's the way I see reincarnation. We're here to learn lessons, not necessarily karmic. And if we would see more everything in a loving basis rather than a judgment basis, I think we would be able to be more clear on why we reincarnated and why we're here in this lifetime.
And to add to that, so we all kind of have our higher self, or our spiritual being that's kind of dictating what we're doing here, or kind of we're planning for ourselves kind of what we want to do in a sense, or possibly try to do.
To some of us it's God, the higher conscience is God.
So yeah, and then in that regard, I mean, we're all gonna make mistakes and do things where we we're gonna mess up, we're gonna have all these problems, but eventually, maybe not in this lifetime or whatever, eventually though we all will go through and reach that level where we gain that consciousness of ourselves, where we reach that end goal to where we do have that final understanding. It's inevitable that all of us, it might take some people longer or less, and it's not a race, there's no right or wrong way, there's nothing, but eventually we will get there and complete what we're trying to accomplish.
I guess in a sense of the way, it's like there's no duality. You're here experiencing, and the best thing you can do is be happy. I know it's hard for a lot of us sometimes. It's very hard for me sometimes to see that higher thing, and I want to understand why I feel sometimes the way I do. And I've touched many of my past lives because I've gone through some regressions, and I've been able to see some things that I fear in this lifetime that I've touched. Like, one of them was very interesting because I was like in a prison, but it was underground, and they had me in a hole. So I was very and a lot of us fear that, but like in a closet and things like that, I hyperventilate, and I think that when I touch that, I was able to let go a little bit on that, sure. You know. So, you know, in this lifetime, my real dad was very abusive physically and mentally. And in one of my regressions, I saw how I had done exactly the same thing to him. I didn't take it as a karmic debt. I just was, the world goes round. It's a circular motion. And what you do is going to come back to you. Just as soon as you hurt somebody mentally or physically, the next second you're going to feel exactly the same way because it's going round. And I think it's reincarnation. You connect to that level. Like, I haven't been able to see in my mother in this lifetime. I haven't seen her in any of my regressions. And I still don't understand, but there's a love there. We have a big connection. So I know that I believe we were like sisters or something in another lifetime. And you just meet those people and you know that there's something, you know, higher there, or something that's more, I guess, that gives you value for you to understand your lifetime, reincarnation.
Yeah, even with like relationships, for instance. I have another quote here where this is by Mark Booth, and he says, let's make sure this is the right one, hold on. Yeah, he says, in the future, we may also learn to look at relationships in terms of reincarnation. We may come to appreciate that relationships in previous incarnations may account for subconscious feelings of liking and disliking, which rise up when we meet strangers.
And one thing that I will touch on that, which makes a lot of sense, a lot of us have someone that really irks us, or somebody that we've stopped talking to. What we need to learn from that, in my belief, is that that person is a higher lesson for you. It's a lesson that you must learn from. I mean, if it's a person that you stopped talking for years, I had this girl from high school. For whatever reason, we just did not like each other. She did not like me, and I've never done anything to her. But I learned throughout the years that she was just a bigger lesson in my life. And that's what it is, and it's sad because a lot of families stop talking to each other and let go of that. And if you only would realize that it's a bigger lesson, and it's probably something that you guys never fixed in the other lifetime. So if you don't fix it in this reincarnation, I can guarantee you, and I can't guarantee you, but I'm pretty sure that you're gonna experience that person again in another lifetime. Sure. So think about it this way: fix it this lifetime.
That's another.
And then let it go, and then you don't have to experience that person again.
And that brings another point too, where somebody will, might say something about their character, like, "Oh, well, that's not me. I'm not that type of person."
But you are.
And it's something. Well, if you're not in this lifetime, at some point you're gonna have to be. So you might as well do it right now. You might as well, work on it, because you're going to have to work on it at some point.
And maybe we'll touch on another lesson, we'll talk about that, but it's basically a reflection of you. Whatever irks you or irritates you from another person, remember, it's a mirror, because we're all oneness, we're all connected, we're all one spirit, mm-hmm. connected to God, the universe, so we're all that. So everybody's a reflection of you. I mean, no. You guys are thinking probably physical. No, it's not like that.
In that sense too, with like suicide, for instance. Mm-hmm. I mean, the way I see suicide is if somebody commits suicide. Not that it's a bad thing, but there's a reason why they're doing it usually. Like, you know, they're upset about something, they're trying to escape something or to avoid something, so they kill themselves. Now, they probably, whatever they were trying to avoid, did not overcome it, and they're probably going to choose to want to overcome it in another life.
Exactly.
What's your take on that?
Well, my take on it was like, I think in another one of my regressions, I think I committed suicide in one of my lifetimes. And I think in this lifetime when I was younger, I started carrying that again with me. But as I got older, I kind of stepped back and realized that, okay, I already did it. It's in my psyche in one of my past lives, so I carried it on to this lifetime. So again, if I would have killed myself again in this lifetime, hopefully it won't happen. I'm not saying it will.
I'm a contender.
But the thing about it is, if I were to do it, then I haven't learned a lesson. I'm just going circular and I'm not taking anything from the other lesson. But since I was able to touch base with it and kind of like, okay, why do I keep feeling this way? The hypnotherapist, Julie, told me, you know, maybe you committed suicide in one of those lifetimes. And I saw myself like that. And I had to be taken out of that regression because it was very traumatic for me. And regressions, we'll touch on that on another topic. But if you suicide this lifetime and then, or you did it before and you come back and do it again, then you're not learning anything from this lesson.
Yeah, it's just interesting because people use suicide as an escape, but I mean, you're not escaping anything. You're just like, delaying the inevitable.
Yeah, and just fear. I mean, basically, when people get, and I mean, I respect everybody. I'm not saying anything against people who have committed suicide, family members, whatever. I'm sorry about that. I'm not wanting to touch at that point. But it's just a fear that you don't want to face. It's just something that this body actually is experiencing because the soul is not experiencing that. You know, it's like, it's the physical form that's really not grasping what life is about. And I think that they turn to that, you know, suicide. I personally don't think it's wrong. I'm sorry if I offend anybody. But, you know, we're all here on a journey. It's so funny because when somebody commits suicide, everybody blames themselves. Why did they do it? But if they would only realize that it's their journey and nobody can control anybody's journey. True. So that's the way I see it. So are we done for this session?
I think we covered most of it.
Guys, if you have questions, need to talk, visit me at peacebeblessed.com. You know, I can, anything I can do of service, I will more than gladly do. So peacebeblessed.com.
Very kind gesture. And obviously visit us at truthcontrol.com. That is our website and our YouTube channel, Truth Control. Please comment if you enjoy the video. Please rate it, subscribe if you like it, and we will continue doing what we're doing.
Happy holidays, people. Have a wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year.
Be safe.
We'll be out next week because this Mr. Figueroa is out on a trip.
Visiting my family.
And I will be cooking tamales. So, peace be blessed.
Take care. Bye.